So you have a startup idea that involves creating a technology product. It could be a mobile app or a web application. You may be an experienced developer or designer, or perhaps you have no exposure to creating software at all. Chances are that your startup will need more than just your specialized skills to become a revenue generating business. Unless you have tons of money to hire employees, you'll be working with freelancers on a shoestring budget. That means very little room for the project to go sideways. So, where do you start and how can you minimize the odds of failure? If you're asking yourself this question, this 20-hour course is for you. Hi, I'm Bhushan, and I'll be your mentor during this 10-day program. Over the past 18 years, I've had the good fortune of working with some really smart product and business leaders. I've learned valuable lessons from them and from my own experiences. This course is a condensed version of the relevant lessons that I've learned, presented in a structured manner. During this course, you'll join me and a few other founders like you on a live group video call. We'll spend 2 hours each day for 10 weekdays to learn and practice everything you will need to take your startup from just an idea to your customers and to the market. Many startups fail because of lack of focus. So we'll begin the course with your idea, how to define a problem statement and use it as a constraint to make sure that you stay true to your goals and don't chase after every new shiny thing out there. Next, we'll learn to validate your idea. You believe that yours is a great idea, but is there a market out there for it? We learn some of the popular metrics for measuring market size. Sometimes your idea could be positioned in three different ways, and the third way could be the one that opens up a huge market opportunity for you. So we learn how to perform market surveys and market research without making some of the usual mistakes. If you plan to turn your startup into a profitable business, you'll need to look at its unit economics and juxtapose it with the market size. We learn how to do that. Once you establish that your idea is worth investing your time and money into, it's time to start planning the product in greater detail. So you will start thinking about the go to market strategy, which will inform the rest of the product planning. So we learned some neat tricks using user stories to flesh out the functionality of your product. It's important to make sure that your designer and developer also clearly understand the functionality in minute detail. But documentation can quickly become bulky and tedious. So we'll learn to visually document the detailed user flow to make it easier for others to consume. Next, we'll learn to create wireframes using your documentation. These wireframes will be the blueprints for designing and developing your product. We'll create functioning prototypes with only the wireframes to test the user experience and fix any gaps. Up until now, you were working alone as a founder, but you got the most important part of the journey covered: detailed planning for the product. With planning out of the way, it's time to start collaborating with others to build out the product. This tends to be a little easier if you have some understanding of what they do. So, we'll spend some time learning key technology concepts in two parts. First, we learn what is necessary to work effectively with designers. We'll also take a look at good user experience practices. Later, we'll learn stuff necessary to work with developers. Your customers, or users, if you will, experience your product through its user interface. So we learn to work with designers to create mockups, templates, style guides, and UI assets. If you're creating a web application, you'll need a front-end developer, sometimes called a production designer, to turn the mockups into web pages using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We'll spend a little time learning this process. Finally, we are ready to get the product developed. At this point, we learn a bit about things like web servers, programming languages, web services, databases, and version control, among other things. We'll also learn some simple methods for tracking the progress of your developers and for performing user acceptance testing before you sign off on what they've created. If you're on a tight budget, you want to be sure that you're only paying for the work that your freelance designers and developers have put in. We'll explore some ways of identifying good freelancers and then holding them accountable throughout the project. With a minimum viable product in place, we'll focus on expanding and operationalizing your go to market strategy. As part of this, we'll learn to use analytics to collect feedback and improve your product. We'll also look at some paid and organic growth strategies. Finally, once you've proven your concept in the market, you may need to raise capital to take your startup to the next level. We'll discuss the traditional rounds of funding and learn to draft a pitch deck for fundraising. You can find the schedules and sign up for this course at productalliance.org/startups.